Welcome to Tony at 12. I'm Tony LeBlanc, and today I'm in conversation with Isabel Picornell, one of the founders and one of the trustees of the Alderney Literary Trust. We're going to discuss the recent Gothic Saturday that took place and also look at the future plans for the remainder of this year and 2022. As ever, a pleasure to see you.
Hello, Tony.
And I have to say the Goth Saturday, which was 2 Saturdays ago, followed by my COVID jab, booster jab the next day. It was quite, busy weekend as far as I was concerned. But it was a super day and lots of authors. And can we first of all go through the various people that attended and, comment appropriately? First one was Dr. Xavier Rees. Is that how he's pronounced his name?
Xavier Reyes.
Yeah. From Manchester Metro University, and he tried to explain what Gothic literature was all about.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. First of all, it was a Gothic Literature Saturday.
Yeah.
And Xavi is Dr. Xavier Aldana Reyes. It's Spanish, so his actual surname is Aldana.
Right.
So Dr. Xavier Aldana. And I got a lesson on how to pronounce his name because it's the Catalan way and not the Castellano way. So Xavi. Anyway, yes. So Xavi teaches Gothic studies at Manchester Metropolitan University, and he's also one of the founders of the Manchester Gothic Festival. So we were really pleased to have him with us. And the whole purpose of having him with us on that Saturday was to explain what Gothic literature is all about. Because, a couple of people I've spoken to in Gothic literature, and they think, oh my God, it's all zombies and vampires. And it isn't. In its actual original form, it was bad romantic fiction. So when it first started off in the 1760s, and as Xavi spoke to us at the presentation, it was lots of damsels in distress, fainting in, rundown castles and gloomy weather, which was all the elements of de rigueur Gothic literature.
Yeah.
And it's changed through the years as and there have been different revivals, and interestingly, the revivals happen at time of social and economic distress. So they're reinvented to suit the situation of the time, and I have no doubt we'll see another revival of Gothic literature because of the pandemic.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, presumably, things like the pandemic do tend to inspire people to come up with ideas. But it was interesting, I thought, because we were sort of talking about Gothic as being somewhere between thriller and horror, weren't we?
Yes. Terror, you missed out terror.
Yeah.
And I think terror more than thriller or horror, because the whole idea is to not inspire terror. Well, yes, inspire terror in the reader or deal with the reader's terror of what he or she doesn't understand.
Yeah.
And so that's actually, there's one word behind Gothic. Yes, it's terror, about situation beyond people's control, about situations they don't understand. And so you bring these elements of religion, science,
black magic,
all sorts, magic, anything to try and explain what's going on and how to manage it.
Yeah.
So
we dealt with witches, didn't we? As well as warlocks.
They at the time blamed things they couldn't understand on witches, warlocks, supernatural, and they dealt with it by burning them.
Yeah.
Or doing all sorts of horrible things to them in the grave. And yes, very Gothic.
Yeah, very much so. Let's have a look at the authors themselves. Unfortunately, Anna Mazzola couldn't make it because she was affected by the dreaded COVID indirectly. But she did a Zoom type presentation, which was pretty interesting. And she's a lawyer.
Yeah, she's a human rights lawyer. And so this social issue, especially the rights of women, which she writes in a historical context, and women have very little rights in those days. Her first book, The Unseeing, if you remember, she was our debut novelist with The Unseeing, and I think it was back in 2017. We brought her over as the one to watch. The book, she's got a new book called The Clockwork Girl coming out next year, but her last book was set on the Isle of Skye at the time of social upheaval, the Highland clearances, and people tried to deal, or at least the common peasantry tried to deal with what was happening to them, the loss of their homes, the loss of their livelihoods, families being split up as people were off to America or others were dying, and very Gothic situation here. And they tried to explain it by resorting to fairies and ghosts and the unknown. But yeah, it's very unfortunate Anna couldn't make it. But her talk was on why authors write Gothic fiction and why we read it. And it's exactly for what I said earlier. Well, it's a way of feeling terror, but being safe.
Yeah.
So you're reading a book and you're feeling terrified, but you know it's not happening to you. It's not real. And so we enjoy this bit of, what is it, manageable terror?
It's a bit like having a nightmare and you're about to be pushed over a cliff. And just as that is about to occur, you suddenly wake up.
Or you're having a nightmare and you know you're dreaming in the nightmare.
Yeah. A dream of a dream.
Yes, exactly. So
now,
it was, she was very good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
In the afternoon, the first author was Rosie Garland, who we thought was exceptional. Now, she's got a bit of a stage background and she can put over readings from her books in a very, very dramatic way. Really enjoyable.
She was great because she's actually a cabaret artist as well. She's a poet, she's a novelist.
Yeah.
She's a cabaret artist, she's a goth. Her cabaret alter ego is the vampire queen, Rosie Lugosi. She's an amazing person. And yes, that came across in her talk, the way she took on her characters and played them. It really brought them to life, especially when she was talking about her middle book, Vixen, which is set in the Black Death of the, I don't know, was it the 13th, 14th century? Yeah. So very topical at that time. But yes, I think she was the most popular. Well, popular. All of them were very good. But the most artistic, demonstratively artistic of the group.
She knew how to sell it.
And her books just disappeared all of them.
Yeah. So that was good.
That just brings home how important it is to be a good communicator.
Very much.
You may be the best author in the world, but if you can't get your information across to your audience,
it's all about, it's not just writing it, it's selling it subsequent to the writing bit, isn't it?
Yes, as well. Yes. A good marketing strategy.
Yeah, very much so.
Always helps.
Then we had Andrew Hurley. So remind our audience a little bit about him.
Andrew Michael Hurley, we were really lucky to get him. He is a double Costa winner. He won the Costa Debut Novel Prize in 2016 for his book, Veloni, which initially came out in a very limited edition because, nobody thought it would sell. Then it went viral, and then he won the Costa Prize, so they had to republish it. And then, so in 2018, he won the Costa Book of the Year with the same book.
Right.
So his focus in Gothic literature is the impact of the landscape on creating a Gothic feeling. And that's with his books. They're always set in very bleak landscapes, a bit like, Jane Eyre type, moorland.
Wuthering Heights.
Oh, yeah, all that gloomy, rainy landscapes.
Miserable
nothing
people.
grows. And that was, yes, very quite eye-opening, because all the novels, well, every novel has to start with a setting.
Sure.
We have to start kick off our imagination by setting it in a place and time. And in Gothic literature, it's the landscape.
Yeah.
It's the setting that makes the difference.
It's the bit that makes the hairs stand up on the back of your neck.
Yes, and that's half the thing, isn't it? Because if you have a gloomy landscape and you know that something terrible is going to happen, that's even if nothing terrible actually happens, you've already got the landscape that's sort of looming ominously.
The painting's being pictured, or rather the painting is there.
Picture is being painted, yes.
Yeah, very much so. Now, of course, the last author that we had was a favourite over here, wasn't it? Karen Maitland. Christine's bought several of her books in the past and enjoys her. So she's always good value, isn't she?
She is. She came for our second literary festival, and she's such a little person.
Yeah.
And quite quiet.
Yeah.
But you put her on the stage, and all of a sudden,
different persona. Yeah.
Blossoms into this person who dreams up the most horrible things. And her traditionally, in her novels have been set in medieval times. She's a wonderful researcher, lots of detail. But her latest book, The Drowned City, is a move forward to the 1600s, 1607 to be exact, and actually set based on a year immediately after the gunpowder plot, which is coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
When a tsunami hit the city of Bristol and the southwest coast and destroyed Bristol and many villages and towns along the southwest coast, which is interesting because it's forgotten today.
Yeah, I didn't know of it. I'd never heard of it.
Massive loss of life, massive loss of towns and cities, and a year after the gunpowder plot, and nobody remembers it.
Yeah.
But yes, it was excellent, and this was a Gothic. This is the beginning of I think a 3-book series, which all her previous books have been standalone.
Yeah.
But very Gothic setting, although it's a murder mystery type thing, but it's full of the hunt for Jesuit priests and rotten bodies and things. Well, these are all the outputs from the the tsunami.
Yeah. No, that was very interesting. Really enjoyed it, and rather strange because when she first came over, Christine was at Southampton Airport, flying over, as was Karen. And something changed, and Karen looked a little bit bewildered, and Christine went over and said, "Are you going to Alderney?" And she said, "Yes." So Christine sort of took on the guardian angel role just for the trip. And when Karen saw Christine the other day, she said, "Oh, I remember you. You helped me out at Southampton," which was rather nice.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So there you are.
When she came the first time, she only stayed a very short time, and she didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
She kept, "Oh, I don't want to go." Is there anyway? So when I invited her this time, I said, "Why don't you stay for longer? Come on the Thursday."
Yeah.
Which she did, and thoroughly enjoyed it. So I've had such nice emails back from everybody saying, hope you invite me back soon.
That's good. That's good. Now, I believe that there are a few books left over from the Gothic Literary Saturday. Some are autographed, and you're quite happy to sell these to people at the normal sort of price. I've put a list on I put a note on my circulation list, which lets people know when this show is going out, to say what's available, and presumably contact you through the festival website. Yeah.
Yes, through the festival website. My email is there. It's info@alderneyLiteraryTrust.com. And you can access the books. We're selling them online. There are only one or two of some of the books left, and a bit more of the others. The Anna Mazzola books sadly aren't signed because she didn't make it over. But Karen Maitland's are, and they're lovely hardback. And we have Andrew Hurley, his latest book, Starve-Acre. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer the listeners of Tony at 12 a special discount.
Oh, sounds good.
For these books. So come up with a code that people can use. Email me with the code, and you can have the books for, well, much cheaper. I can't think of a figure off the top of my head, but I will tell you, and you can tell them. Yeah. But the obviously local free pickup from Alderney, but anywhere else in the bailiwick
have to pay postage.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, which as you say. But the one thing that everyone's got to bear in mind is that Christmas is coming. Exactly. And those books would make a jolly good Christmas present. And as you say,
if you try to find a signed copy of Starve-Acre by Andrew Hurley, they're not available.
Yeah.
So, specifically a signed one. And Karen Maitland, there are some of hers, but, if you are in Alderney, you can get these books a lot cheaper than you can ordering it from Amazon or
other other books.
There are other bookshops. So.
Yeah, we'd better stick that little caveat in, I think.
Yeah.
So there we are. So there's the book deal available, and I'll put a reminder about this on the circulation list when it gets sent out Thursday or Friday. So that's something to bear in mind. Now, any other plans for this year? We're running out of time, aren't we, really?
Yeah, we are. Sadly, no. And the rest of this year is being taken up with plans for the March Festival.
Yep.
So, no, sadly, and because last year we ran the suspense writing event.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to do something else, but no, sadly, nothing else this year.
Understood. So as far as 2022, the festival is concerned, dates to be advised shortly, or what's the form?
No, we have the dates. It's the 18th to the 20th of March, 2022. 18th.
Okay, that's fine. So I shall plan my next trip to Spain around that. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you where it's at the Island Hall, as it normally is. Yeah. And it will start at 1:30 on Friday the 18th. Yeah. And end at midday on Sunday the 20th.
And you'll feature Rover tickets again?
Yes, we'll do all of that. It's at the moment we're still collecting our authors. We have half of them. We're still waiting to hear from some of the others we've invited, and of course pin them down to the titles of their talk. So we can create a program. So all of that is in progress.
Okay, that's good news. Now, like every other organization, COVID has taken its toll somewhat in terms of everything, particularly financials. And you have got sponsorship deals available, and they look pretty interesting in terms of what's being offered. I know you've sold some of them already, and perhaps you could give us a little bit of information on what's available there, Isabel.
Well, yes, you are right. We've had 2 years of no income and outgoings, which has depleted our coffers. So we are in serious campaign mode to drum up sponsorship. We are offering, we're not doing the normal sponsorships this time. Well, at this stage, we're not doing the normal sponsorships this time. And we are going out for to corporate sponsors.
Yeah.
And if anybody is interested in corporate sponsorship, I'd prefer they got in touch with me.
Yeah.
Then I can send out a pack.
Yeah, and in many respects, sponsorship is always about bespoke deals rather than, you know, pile it high, sell it cheap sort of thing. So from that point of view, that is important. So the answer is that anyone actually watching this show, if you're interested in helping by way of sponsorship, and you're, you know, as a sponsor, you're going to get pretty good exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
not only the literary festival, but we'll be doing a show, I guess, beforehand and one after. Mm-hmm. So you know, we'll hopefully be able to say to sponsors, well, you know, it's not just the festival itself; it's the before and after that will also apply. So
yes. And if you think also, most of our audience actually comes from off island.
Yeah.
From the UK, from Guernsey, from Jersey, and I'm certainly hoping that, you know, people from Jersey will come by March. People that have had their boosters and felt more able to travel. So there will be a lot of exposure in that regard, and also just considering, you know, Alderney is developing a reputation for being an arts tourism center, and especially what the Alderney Literary Trust is trying to do is contribute to that using the literary events we have, like the Literary Festival and the Literally Gothic, which we hope will be an annual event. Yeah. And these events are unique in the Channel Islands, you know, especially in the context of their literature, the history, and the Gothic. And as everybody who's been to it knows, it's lots of fun.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
The authors are there. They're not just, you know, in and out. We keep them captive in Alderney for all weekend, and they get to mix with, you know, with people.
And so they're very
fun.
They're very affable people as well. So, you know, you can have a good old chat with them. It's not just a question of sort of getting into a line and they sign a book and say, what's your name? And the next one, you can get into a real conversation. And that's important, I think. So that is, you know, very, very good to know. Finally, then, let's talk about the website address so that people can get in touch. Once again, I'm going to put it on the notification, but perhaps you'd like to remind us now, please.
It is alderneyliterarytrust.com. And if you put Alderney Literary Trust into Google, you'll
find it. Yeah,
it'll come up. We have the information on the dates of the festival there. At the moment, there's no other information as we try to organize the authors. If you want to stay in touch, please sign up to our newsletter. So go to the contacts page of the Alderney Literary Trust website, and you will get our newsletters, which tend to come once a month with all the updates, authors who are coming, and you also get priority booking. Because more importantly is we have a festival dinner with limited space, and you first find out about that through the newsletter.
Yeah.
And so we had the situation before where people want to book, and actually it's all being fully booked because of the newsletter. And if you're interested in Rover tickets as well, you get priority booking are for newsletter subscribers. And they tend to go very quickly. And always a good idea to sign up.
And with the dinner, most of the authors are usually in attendance, aren't they? So
Yes, it's a 3-line whip. So you may be sitting at a table with one of the authors.
yeah,
We're always
yeah,
we're going to have 10 authors over.
yeah.
So, and you know, I will make sure they're not all sitting together like classmates. Yeah.
They will obey your order.
They will split themselves up.
Well, Isabel, it's been a delight to talk to you again as usual, and wish you all the best as far as 2022 is concerned. And hopefully we'll get the sponsorship side tied up and go straight into overdrive.
Thank you very much, Tony. Always a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.